Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thought I'd give you a nice shot of my wood grain workbench here. I actually have a long-running project I'm going to be working on. And that's going to be restoration of 3 Mac Classics and a very nasty iMac G3. But I'm going to be focusing on these 3 in particular, these classics, because I have never restored any computer of this type before. These are actually, they're all classics. And I don't know much about them. I got them from a gentleman who worked at a newspaper in a nearby town. He said he remembered when these things were first deployed. And the time didn't make sense because he said that he remembered these things being bought in the mid-80s. But these are from 1990. Specifically, this one is the newest one from March of 1991. And no, wait. This one of these was from April. Yeah, this one was April of 1991. So this one's actually the newest one. So I'm going to be restoring these over the course of the next few I'm going to say next few months, because these I've never messed with before. And they're all in varying shapes of condition. I haven't powered them on yet, but this one is the least yellowed and has no screen burn. This one is the most yellowed and has, it's very, very faint. In fact, it could just be a trick of the light from my shadow here. But there's no screen burn on this one. And this one, it has noticeable screen burn when I shine a light on it. In fact, you might be able to, yeah, you can just vaguely make it out, even with all the smudges and stuff. This one has nothing, and this one is fine. So I'm going to power these up real quick, get a symptom list, and see what happens. Machine number 1, Mac Bong, that's a good sound. It's taken a while. That's taken a long time to boot up. Oh, there's a mouse cursor. Now, I don't have a mouse or keyboard yet to test anything on this, so whatever happens, happens. I'm just wanting to see if anything is completely or utterly dead. And question mark. Okay, so this could be either the hard drive's dead, it has no hard drive, or something's wrong with the main board. But from what I can gather from limited quick Google searching, these things have problems with their main boards being bad. Okay, so number 1 is just no hard drive detected and needs cleaned up. I hope that tape's not holding that front on. It's kind of in a weird spot. Machine number 2, the most yellowed. Plug you in. I hear something spinning. No chime, which is an interesting symptom. Ooh, it has a Happy Mac. That's a good sign. Screen's really dim though. And there's no external brightness control. Even this is taking a while to boot. So while this is going, the reason why these things might take so long to boot is because there's 2 different versions of these. There's the under $1,000, no hard drive, 1 megabyte of RAM classic, and then there's the $1,200, $1,300 classic with a 40 megabyte hard drive and a RAM expansion card that could add either 1 to 3 megabyte for a total of a 4 megabyte system. And this one's booting really slow, so it could just because these both might actually be fully loaded. I don't know. That's going to be for another, it's going to be here for a second because I'm going to tear these apart. Oh, and SAD-MAC'd. Okay, so this one has no chime, very long boot, and then it cut out to a SAD-MAC. So, and this one is the most yellowed. My camera's not picking it up, but this is actually the most yellowed machine. Now we have machine number 3. Come on, there we go. And let's see what this one does. I'm betting the same thing. Ooh, I'm hearing something spinning. No audio. Oh boy. Oh boy. That is very bad. So that's an interesting screen glitch. I don't know what causes that. It almost looks like I'm seeing something. It might be a SAD-MAC, but everything's just exploded. Okay, so 3 little Macs all in a row. All 3 have different problems. So this one is actually the best shaped cosmetically, minus the scuffed Classic here. This one is the most yellowed, and this one has screen burn, like really bad screen burn. I can see it even from here. And some scuffing up front here. So, no hard drive detected, but chime. No chime, long boot, SAD-MAC. I don't even know what's wrong with this one. So, I'm going to get these things torn apart one by one. And I'm betting these two are going to be salvageable just because of the fact that they both started booting something. This one was, I heard the hard drive spinning. This one I didn't. But this one actually had everything. It had the chime, it had the question mark Mac for the no hard drive. This one started doing something, but then SAD-MAC'd out. And this one has a really weird graphical problem. In fact, I'm betting this board is just dead. Because these things have a capacitor problem of them leaking really bad, and they're known for their CMOS lithium polymer batteries leaking and causing havoc. So I'm betting machine 3 here is really damaged mainboard. But we shall see. I wonder if I should fire that up. No, we'll do that later. But yep, 3 little Macs. This is going to be a long repair series, so be ready for that. Okay, so let's get these 2 out of the way. And start with machine number 1. So this is the best cosmetically shaped one. There's some adhesive tape right here from something. Some dirt and grime in the corners here. Some dirt and grime right there. And a huge swath of packing tape, which I don't know what that's for. Can I peel it off in one shot? Almost. Trash. Need to get that off. Okay, first off, to tear these Mac Classics apart, I had to look it up. Let's take a look at the back. We have the ADB keyboard connector, the external floppy or hard drive, the parallel port, which is for printers mostly, I think. Nope, never mind. Printer port, modem port, external speaker, and the lock system, which you'd put in here, it would attach to the back of the case, and then you'd cable lock it to a table so that nobody could steal it. I believe this is a battery compartment. I believe. Grab a screwdriver. Because I believe this is the battery. Nope. CRT controls. I thought that was for the battery, but I guess not. So the first thing you need is, that I had to look up, there's 2 screws on the bottom here, and there's 2 way down in there. And they are T15 Torx, which unfortunately, I do have a longer T15 Torx 1/4-inch drive bit. I don't have the fancy Mac cracker that the 8-bit guy in, I think it's Adrian's Digital Basement. I think he did a restore series on a couple different ones. This is gonna reach. Oh, it does. So I'm really not sure what to expect when I open these up, because there's 2 different models of these. One is a sub $1,000 model. That's just a 1 megabyte of RAM, no hard drive. And you have to use the boot disk to get these things going. Which I don't have any software for these. And I also don't have any, oh, the bottom screws are different. So the top screws are these coarse thread, silverish colored ones. And the bottom screws are these black, fine thread ones. Not focusing. That's fine. Didn't want you to focus in there. And there is a, I think it's a $1,200 or $1,300 model that has a RAM expander card and a, I believe, a 40 megabyte hard drive. I'm gonna get this loose. There we go. Oh. There we go. And there we go. So the inside of the case is a little dusty. That's no big deal. Don't see no cracks or damages. And I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Okay, so I'm actually really surprised. Here's the RAM expander card. So this is a more expensive model. And it also is fully equipped with RAM. So these are each 1 megabyte 30-pin SIMs. So this thing has a total of 4 megabyte. That might be why it took forever for this one to get to the post screen. So I'm definitely going to save this. And it does have a hard drive. Which I believe is a 40 megabyte model. I don't know, because this is the one that did not. This is the one machine that showed a dead hard drive symbol, or hard drive not detected. Being very careful not to touch anything high voltage. This thing's actually been unplugged for a few weeks now. That doesn't mean I'm going to be not conscious. Yeah, a little dusty, not too bad. Oh, it's a quantum drive. And it has the Apple logo with a number 40. So this is a 40 megabyte drive. So hopefully the hard drive itself isn't fully dead, and it's just something went wrong with the main board, which is a known problem for these. SCSI cable. Get the floppy unhooked, and the power and video cable, and the main board just slides right out. Man, that is a small main board. I mean, that's it. In fact, let's compare it to a micro ATX board here from Asus. It is like half the size, 2/3 the size. And there's like a 30-year difference between boards here. Let's take a quick look. We've got the 1 megabyte of RAM on board. Ooh, there's something on the board. Zilog chip. The Motorola 68000 chip CPU. And the various different controller chips. I'm not sure which one's for video output. Okay, but something that these Mac Classics have an issue with is these electrolytic capacitors leak. And if you can tell from the camera, the whole board's covered in dust, except for this area right here, which I think is because the electrolytic soaked into the dust. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, I need to remove these caps and replace them. I'm not sure what to replace them with, mainly because I could replace them with electrolytics or tantalums. And I've seen, I don't remember what forum page I was on, but somebody recommended tantalums over electrolytic. That way in, say, 20, 30 years, there's not this same problem. And here's something really surprising. The CMOS battery is not leaking, and it's intact. There's no corrosion, just dust. Wow. So machine 1's not in bad shape. Just the hard drive detected dead and some electrolytic leakage. Alright, let's get this put to the side and tear apart machine number 2. Before I do want to pull the floppy out, because I'm going to need to, or want to clean that out too. So it's actually not too bad. This screen's really clean. Cooling fan's clean. I'll take the power supply out later, or the analog board out later. Hopefully my audio isn't too quiet. I had that problem with my TI-99 video. It was for some reason super quiet. I don't know why. So it looks like the floppy gets all its power from the floppy connector. Is that all the screws? Looks like it. Oh, there we go. And one floppy drive. Sony 2 megabyte floppy drive? That doesn't sound right. Ooh, there's a lot of dust. I'm not sure where that dust came from. So these are actually a pretty interesting drive. There's no way to eject the floppy. Mechanically, you actually have to hold down the mouse button, or if when the machine's running, click eject disk and it'll electronically eject it. So hopefully this mechanism is intact. All right, now machine. Okay, and machine number 2, which is the most yellowed of the machines. It's not showing through on the video, but there's some scuffing right there. Scuffing here. Some tape residue right here. Same ports and I/O. Take this back cover off real quick. Scuffing, some adhesive residue, and this thing, which just holds paper for when you're typing. Oh, that's annoying. You know, I might save this. It's not useful for anything, but it's kind of neat, I guess. I might throw it. And there's some scuffing right here. There's actually very faint screen burn that I don't think can be seen on the camera, but there's just a very faint. So this machine, if I remember correctly, it's been about a week. Why are you not focusing? And mainboard. So same thing, very dusty. And so this one had no post beep. There's a lot of electrolytic juice right around here, and very little around these 4, which might be why it posted. Because maybe these capacitors run the hard disk controller. There's a lot of juice on this chip though. So very minimal leakage. Very dusty though. And another intact battery. No corrosion. Inorganic lithium battery from 1990. I kind of wonder if that's why these things aren't as bad as they could be, because this one, the hard drive did go up and it did show the desktop, and there was a file on the screen that said email report 2004. So that means this thing was in service for, what, 14 years? So only offline for 16. Maybe that's why the battery and the capacitors aren't bad. Very carefully remove the floppy. And yeah, I don't know if you can see it clearly, but that fan shroud is just covered in dust. That's going to need to be addressed. Oops. So my plan is, for these three machines, I want to take the best parts out of all three, whether, the best, most reliable hard drive, the best condition floppy, the best condition case and CRT, and put them together to make one nearly immaculate Mac Classic. And then take the worst parts and put those into one chassis, and then the second to last parts, put them in a chassis. This one's very, very dusty. So hopefully everything works after this. And there's bare chassis number 2 and machine number 3. So this one was the weird screen warbling. This is the most amount of screen burn-in. I can see it very clearly. The case is not as yellowed as number 2, but it's actually in a little better shape. So cosmetically, this one's actually right between machine 2 and machine 1. So I'm kind of thinking anyway, not hoping, thinking that this might be the worst internal case. And this one has the same weird little paper holder, except this one is not Velcroed. Oh. Well, that residue is going to be a pain to get off. So yeah, this one might just be a parts one. I don't know yet. This one is in the worst shape, which is ironically weird because this is the newest machine. Ooh, you're vastly different. You are vastly different. I'm seeing a chip that says Connor. So I'm going to take the shield off real quick and see exactly what it is, because now I'm curious. As far as I knew, Apple liked using quantum drives for whatever reason. And Connor, from what I can, limited Google searching, I haven't looked up too much on these, which I probably should look up more because I don't know how to restore one of these perfectly. It is. It is a Connor drive with an Apple branding. Now this one says 40SC, so it's a 40 megabyte SCSI, but the bracket doesn't have a sticker on it. So I wonder if they started having problems and had a revision change where they swapped hard drives out, or did this one die before it was fully retired and they replaced hard drive? I don't know. Unplug the floppy and unplug. This one might actually have a bad analog board because of that monitor. I don't know. Okay, so this one actually has the most, looks like the most leakage of anything. All these lower chips are covered in a film. The battery's intact. I don't know if you can see it, but there's some green corrosion on the bottom row of pins. That is interesting. Okay, I don't know if you can see it clearly, but there is green corrosion inside the monitor connector. That might be the strange visual effect I got. In fact, I'm probably going to bet money on that. But the internals are cleaner. Like, there's less dust in this one. Whoops. So like I said, there's a lot of mismatched conditions on these machines. So the best parts are going to go into the best chassis. The worst parts are going to go in the worst chassis. And the middle ground parts are going to go into the third chassis. Because I do want to keep one perfectly functioning unit. Mainly because is that these Apple drives are known as super drives, and they can read and write not just 1.44 meg, but 400 and 800K floppies that the older Macintoshes used, like the pluses, the 128, the 512Ks. So if I ever come across one of those and need to make a software floppy, I can use one of these machines to do it. Hopefully. That's what I've read online in a couple different forum pages. Okay. So this is going to end part 1, which is just the disassembly and parts of the Mac Classics. Part 2 is probably going to be me taking the analog boards out, clean the dust off, taking the CRTs out carefully, getting all the dust off, and scrubbing all the plastic case materials, because you need to be really careful with these, because since this is all high voltage, because it's got a built-in CRT, this is high voltage, this is high voltage. That's why I haven't popped off the anode caps yet, because I don't know if the bleed down resistor has removed the excessive charge. So I might do that in the next video, just give these things more time to discharge, because there's a kind of a sketchy way to do it. So, see you guys in the next video, where we'll clean stuff up and I'll do a lot more research on these machines.